My passion is in philosophy. So I would like to share with you my passion and reflect a little bit about human rights and religious freedom. So I would like to start from the question, what is human and what is right? These are two huge questions. And we might address these questions from a legal perspective. And the answer would be somewhat troublesome because the definition of what is human would change according to the time. So if we answer this question in 1789, at the time of Declaration of Human Rights and Freedom, we would say that a human being is a male human of 26 years old and who owns property. So we would define a human being on the basis of something that is very restrictive, and probably not all of us would be considered human, even if, this first declaration was written in a time of big excitement and achievements. Or the definition of what being human means would change according to the place. We were talking before with the other panelists. I mean, if we define a human being according to Canada, okay, a human being includes more or less every kind of, a person having any kind of faith and creeds. If we move that into Saudi Arabia, it starts becoming a little more tricky. Or the definition of human, of what being human means, would change according to the group of duties and rights we can achieve and we can have in a small space. So, I mean, if we ask this question from a legal point of view, it's difficult to answer. So let's try to use ethics. Let's try to answer this question from a moral and ethical perspective. If we look at jus naturalis, the definition of, what a human being is by nature, we would say, well, every living being belonging to this species has to be considered human. Being human, it's something universal. It's something that it's inalienable. It's an innate right for everyone. So is the problem solved? Not really, unfortunately. Because when we look at the definition of human being, of what it means to be human from an ethical point of view, then we say, okay, being human, it's something universal and natural because we look like God. We are human because we are the expression of God, which is really beautiful. If you keep in mind what Imam Jamal was saying, if you keep in mind that, we are in this river and God is, a very omnicomprehensive definition. But then we go and look at the history of human rights and we read, I don't know, in Grotius, Boetius, Thomas Aquinas, so all the big fathers of jus naturalis theory, that God is this God or that God. That is, a very strict definition of what this image, what this human-like image of God should be. And so then, how do we solve this problem? How do we answer this important question of what it means to be human? I would say we should cultivate a little bit the meaning of freedom. There's the beautiful essay that Isaiah Berlin wrote about freedom, in which he says, there's a positive and a negative meaning of freedom. And here, positive and negative do not mean that one is good and the other one is bad. Positive, from Latin, positum, it means that I am free to do things according to my qualities, according to my talents, according to my creeds, according to what I am and how I feel. And there's the freedom from. Freedom from what? From the interference of government. So the government should give me the opportunity, it should give me the space to be human and to be who I am, but at the same time, it should leave me the freedom to cultivate myself, to be who I am. So in conclusion, I would say that being a human, being a right, a decent human being in this society is in between these legal and moral issues. On the one hand, we should be free from the government to be who we are, to have the space to cultivate what it means to be human for us. And on the other hand, we should be able to, you know, to express it and feel safe and feel closer to our religious voice. To this place that it's outside of time, outside the linearity of time, and speaks in a timeless, intimate way to us. That would be the highest goal that we can reach. And, you know, the history of human rights is slowly getting there, but it takes lots of reflection, agreement, and yeah, a fight sometimes, the space to stand up for it. So I will conclude my talk here, and I really thank you, every one of you, for putting your thoughts together toward this essential common goal.